welcome to Expats Everywhere. If you could tell us your name, where you're from, and a little about yourself.
Okay. My name is Callie. I am originally from Mount Jackson, Virginia, represent. I currently live in Sydney, Australia, and absolutely love it out here. 29 years old, baller, but that's me, I guess, yeah.
And if you could tell us, what countries have you worked in?
Okay, just the States and here in Australia. They're the only two I've worked in.
Sweet. And what's it like working in Australia?
Australia work life is actually unreal. People take holidays here. Different to the States where vacations and holidays don't really happen, and if they do, it's once in a blue moon. But I was working like 8 or 9 straight months, and they're like, hey, you should take a holiday. Like, now's the time. You have annual leave. So they do look after their employees, and I kind of really respect that. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as an American, what kinds of jobs are available for you? I
guess really any job. I mean, I got a few other American friends out here. Some of them are waiters and waitresses. Some work on farms. Some work in construction and that sort of thing. Some are professional athletes. And I'm kind of do a bit of both with retail work and then obviously playing sports. But there's, I guess, really any job. There's really no limit, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
And what does a typical day look like for you at your job?
I'll rock up to work in the center of George Street, and I normally check my emails for the day, that sort of thing. Say hello to all my colleagues, but mainly at work I look after repairing relationships. It's really about fixing and repairing devices that are no longer working, but really helping our customers restore faith back in those products, I guess, mainly from day to day. I work 40-hour weeks. Yep, 40-hour weeks, so that's 80 hours a fortnight. So that's, yeah, most of the time, yeah, that's right.
You get paid every 2 weeks?
Paid, but yep, fortnightly is what we call it. Yeah, I love that. Every 2 weeks. I get paid next week. I'm excited, actually.
You treat yourself when you get paid?
Yes, I do. There's a pair of sneakers I'm eyeballing at the moment, so I'll probably get those next paycheck.
That's awesome. Can you explain about some of the other jobs that you know that are available? Maybe some friends of yours, they work in different industries? Yeah, so let's think. So I have a couple friends who, they've worked on some farms out here, mainly helping farmers, pick any sorts of fruits or vegetables. They'll help with, animals on the farm, just for some extra cash flow. I do have a couple other friends who play professional sports out here. So I have a couple friends that play in Melbourne, some in Canberra. I have other friends as well who are coaches out here, so they spend a lot of their time coaching, aspiring young kids. But, mainly weekends or during holiday periods when parents are more than starved to get their kids away from them. But that's mainly my friends, what they sort of do, that sort of basic stuff, I guess. What's it like being an American athlete, moving abroad and doing athletics? So, do you practice the same amount? What's the intensity like?
Good question.
Explain that. Yeah,
so I've learned professional sports out here. It's college kind of helps you prepare for it. I mean, because the hours are slightly different, I guess, because we don't train every day. And I'm only developing at the moment. So the girls that are playing full time, they train, I think 3 or 4 times a week, and the other times they're training or traveling to and from games, because we play all over Australia. They'll leave for Perth on a day and then come back the next day. Those sorts of things. I felt like in the States it was the level of training was probably higher, and there's more expected. Here it's a little bit more relaxed, but still obviously it's a high level. But I guess it's different in those sorts of ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, let's talk some finances. Okay. How much can a professional athlete expect to earn?
Okay, not much, but I don't make, at the moment, because I've been signed to play, so I don't make anything with it. But from the girls I know, most of them have to work part-time jobs on the side just to be able to make ends meet. Some of them are teachers. So they work at schools. Some others are they walk dogs, like they're dog walkers as well as professional players. So they'll do really anything because it doesn't pay enough at the moment. But it's getting better. It's getting better all the time, So hopefully hopefully it'll get better soon, I guess. Yeah.
Is that for male and female athletes, or just currently for female?
Just female. Yeah. Okay. So the guys that play in the league that I know, they can play professionally in the league here. That's all they need to do. They don't need to. Right. They don't need any other jobs on the side.
How much can someone expect to earn working 80 hours a fortnight?
So I'm salary paid. So salary paid means, so you guys probably know, it just means you can't like work overtime hours. You just get, if you work any overtime, you kind of get days back for holiday. So you get time in lieu, is what we call it, or compensatory leave.
Do you think that this is enough, and what kind of lifestyle can you live?
It is, yep. Rent in Sydney is like most, high dollar countries. It is very expensive. Rent here is super high. The last apartment I was living in, I was paying $580 a fortnight. This place now I'm paying $480, so it is $100 cheaper. It's close to the city, so I really love that. But I reckon it's for what I need and what I do, and the amount of shoes I collect. It works. It works okay, I think.
Well, how much money do you need to start up? So when you moved here 5 years ago, how much did you need to start up? And what would you recommend to people? How much do they need to bring to get themselves started and settled?
Yep. So when I came out here, I saved for, I was saving for several years. I had about 8 to 9 grand in my bank account.
USD?
USD, yep. I just had that just saved from several years of just saving up. And I wasn't spending much in rent in the States. I was able to save pretty easily. And that was more than enough for me. I was quite comfortable with that. I did live rent-free for several months when I came out here, so I was able to save even more. So I got probably close to maybe 11, 12, 13 grand at that stage. And that was more than comfortable for me. But I don't reckon you need more than maybe 5 to 8 grand, maybe. That's if you're heavily traveling things. I was pretty low budget, I guess.
And that'll get you through your first month or two?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Big time. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How should someone pack to move there, and what's the weather like in Sydney?
So in the summers it's super hot, super humid. Winters, when I see Australians in their winter gear, I'm like, man, you guys have no idea. Like they'll wear the heavy thick jackets and just they'll complain about how cold it is. I'm like, man, you guys, no way. I reckon in the wintertime you don't, maybe just a simple North Face jacket, those nice ones that are not too thick but enough to kind of cut the breeze a bit. And in the summertime it can get super hot. The UV rays here are unbelievable. You definitely need SPF at least 50. Look after your skin. We have many skincare doctors here, so I know some if we need to know.
What are some things that you can't find in Australia that you recommend maybe Americans or Canadians should bring? Okay.
Well, I miss chocolate covered peanut butter. So, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so Australians are more, they love their Nutella and they love their caramels. But I love peanut butter chocolate. So that's Reese cups. You can find that here, but it's just not the same. But anything that's coated in chocolate covered peanut butter, we have that so much in America. Milkshakes, it's in so much, and you just don't find that here. So that's something else. If you have anything that's similar to chocolate covered peanut butter, bring it out here because you won't find it much.
So how do you cope? You bring it?
I try to make my own. Yep. Okay. I actually have people at my work. They actually they put peanut butter and they refrigerate it, and then they drizzle chocolate on top and refrigerate that. And that's what I normally actually just ate that early before you guys came because I'm obsessed with it.
How safe is it in Sydney, and do you feel safe on a personal level?
Yeah, 100%. One of the safest places, I think. I mean, there's parts of Sydney that you want to avoid at certain times of the night, but where I am and where I live and where I work and where I play sports, absolutely safe. Never had an issue with that. Even a teammate, never had any problems with those sorts of things.
So what's the area you live? What's the neighborhood called?
So this is the Northern Shore. People call the North Shore posh, I guess, this neighborhood. Quite a few wealthy people live in the North Shore is what I hear. But and you do find that a bit. Certainly the cars parked on the street, but this is the Northern Shore of Sydney, yeah. It can kind of get a bit scary on the train line sometimes.
So what can happen, pickpocketing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably pickpocketing or
fights.
Fights. Or there's obviously there's drug use in any big city, so those sorts of things can be happening. But I just avoid those sorts of things, I guess.
All right. Well, on a lighter note,
yep.
How do you meet people, and what can you do for fun?
Okay. Well, I guess meeting people for me is mainly just through sport. So I've met a lot of great friends and people I still talk to just in playing basketball. I'm learning a bit of soccer as well. I've met some people through that too, just some social comp leagues. They call it social comp out here, where you just kind of play for fun. I get quite competitive in these fun leagues, but they are for fun. They're meant to be. And then obviously at work, I guess in the retail world, you can kind of pretty much meet anybody, I guess. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you would tell us, what is the visa process like?
Okay. So I originally started on a work holiday visa, so Americans can start on that. They can use that for 12 months. Yep. And so I did that. When that expired, I was on a partner visa for a bit. Partner visas are good, but they can. They can get pretty invasive because you really have to prove your relationship and that it's genuine. And then the government will ask for further documentation throughout your relationship just to make sure you're still a couple. And then when you're not a couple anymore, the relationship falls through. That's when you panic. No, you don't panic. There is other visas. I've had friends that are on student visas. And then I was just prior on a business sponsored visa. It's a 457 visa, which is no longer the case. They've abolished that visa. So luckily I was able to get my residency during that time.
How long did it take to get residency?
So I applied February last year, just before they cut it off. And it took until December, about 2 weeks ago. So it took 9 months to get it. 9-10 months, yeah.
And then how long do you have to be in Australia before you can get citizenship?
So the rules are now 5 years. You have to be in Australia. You have to live here for 5 years. And then you have to hold permanent residency for 12 months. And once you hold those two and tick those boxes, then you can apply for residency. Oh, sorry, citizenship. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
How is the healthcare, and would you feel comfortable getting a procedure done in Sydney, Australia?
Great question. I actually had one done here last year. The healthcare is sensational here. Pretty much, if I understand it right, everybody pays a little bit to kind of take care of everybody else, and that comes out of their I guess their income, I think. But I wasn't eligible to get Medicare because I'm American, and we don't have a reciprocal health program. But I'm now eligible for it because I'm a resident. But I actually had to I underwent surgery at the Royal North Shore Hospital, this lovely hospital, for my thyroid. That's why I have the scar, but. They took care of me, excellent, sir, I guess, and their procedures and the post follow-up, checking on me and things. I certainly would have done the whole thing over again. It's unreal.
Hope you don't have to.
No, certainly not. No, luckily I'm okay, but
awesome.
That was an unreal experience, yeah.
Do you think that Australia, and maybe Sydney in particular, is a good travel hub to see other parts of the world? Or the other parts of Australia? Why or why not?
I guess for me, when I came to Sydney, I thought this was the capital. I thought Sydney was the place, and I later found out it's Canberra. But you learn in America that Sydney's like the hot spot of Australia. It's where Dory came, to find Nemo and stuff. Like, what is it? P. Sherman, Wallaby Way, Sydney. Like, it's this is the spot, I guess. But Australians. A lot of them, the international airport's really close by, so they travel to and from Sydney quite easily. But I'd say it's probably the main spot to kind of get to anywhere, other parts of Asia and things, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up here. If you could, tell us, what are the pros and cons of living in Sydney?
Okay. Pros, absolutely beautiful country, the landscape, the people, the beaches. The beaches are next level beautiful. Different than the States. I find the beaches here more kind of rockier. There's like quite a bit of rocks and different things, as opposed to the beaches in the States are quite flat. Pacific water is beautiful. It is a bit colder actually, but maybe that's because we're in a cold current. People are beautiful here. All sorts of different types of people too. Like the amount of cultures here is overwhelming at times, but it's kind of nice to see all sorts of people at any time. And then I guess some cons, if I had to pick some. I miss Mexican food. That would be a thing that I wish Australians had. I wish they had Chipotle out here. Chipotle, if you're watching, please come to Australia. They could use you for sure. Chick-fil-A, oh man, Chick-fil-A. I miss Chick-fil-A too.
So is GYG not good enough? No,
not at all, man. But I would say, if anything, that I miss those sorts of cuisines. But I've been out here for 5 years now. And I guess the last con, maybe, if I had to pick one, is I wish it was closer to my family. It's such a hike to get back home, but it's kind of the way it is. But once you're here, you kind of don't want to leave, and I guess I've kind of done that at this stage.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for this interview. We appreciate you sitting down with Expats Everywhere.
Yeah, cool. Y'all are great. Rock on. YouTube success and expats everywhere. Y'all subscribe.